personal tour or a massage in our student massage clinic, call 706-863-4799. Augusta School of Massage.
If I could be you, and you could be me for just 1 hour. If we could find a way to get inside each other's minds. If you could see you through my eyes instead of your ego, I believe you'd be surprised to see that you've been blind. Walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes. Yeah, before you abuse, criticize and accuse. Walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes. Well, before you abuse, criticize and accuse. Walk a mile in my shoes.
70 years, that's a long time.
Sure is. You think we'll make it that long?
I doubt it, but you know who did?
Who?
WJBF Television in Augusta, Georgia.
Wow. News Channel 6, 70 years.
Congratulations.
Book direct flights to Washington, D.C. at flyags.com. The Live 5/6 Skyview Network, sponsored by Terry Lambert Hyundai.
Showers and thunderstorms rolling through the CSRA. I'll let you know how long they'll last and track them into your neighborhood coming up in your 5/6 forecast.
Now on News Channel 6 at 4, the Emmanuel County Sheriff's Office is sharing an update on one of their own after being shot last week. And one of the biggest nights for high school students is coming up tonight at James Brown Arena. We'll have a preview of college night. And the Aiken Chamber of Commerce wants your input on a proposed facility. We have a preview for you as your news at 4 starts now.
Live from Television Park, this is WJBF News Channel 6 at 4.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jenny Montgomery. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll get to those stories in just a moment. First, though, we want to go straight to
Your 5/6 forecast, Jenny.
All right, Miller, thank you so much. An Emmanuel County Sheriff's investigator who was shot in the line of duty is at home. Tiffany Hobbs talked with him about his road to recovery.
Investigator Dakota Lamb says that he doesn't wake up every day thinking about the potential dangers of his job. After being shot while serving a drug search warrant Tuesday morning, he says he's grateful to be alive. Emmanuel County Sheriff's Office investigator Dakota Lamb was working with the Swainsboro Police Department, serving a warrant on Coal Grove Drive. He says as he approached the side of the house, he was shot in his left arm. Lamb was taken to the Emmanuel County Medical Center, then to Wellstar MCG Health, where he was treated for his injuries. He is expected to make a full recovery. The suspect has been taken into custody and charged with aggravated assault.
When you're getting a search warrant planned up, you're trying to get as much intel as you can of any firearms in the house, the people that are in the house, how many, and their histories, their criminal histories, and if are they violent, and so there's a lot that goes into it, and there's a lot that sometimes are just unknown variables, and that could have been what happened this time, was just an unknown variable.
Investigator Lamb tells us he doesn't yet know if another surgery will be in his future, but for now he says he will take his time to heal so he can get back to the job he loves. Back to you, Jenny.
All right, Tiffany, thank you. In Burke County, Sheriff Alfonso Williams is asking the commission to help him cover his budget. It comes as Burke County leaders put together an audit of the sheriff's office. Sheriff Williams is focusing on the finances needed. That includes 13 positions and more safety for inmates. Yesterday, Williams told the board his office was using grant money to cover some costs, but he says those grants have run out.
The $2 million shortfall doesn't cover those 13 positions. Secondly, the budget doesn't address a single dollar for the housing out of inmates.
Meanwhile, Sheriff Williams has obtained a lawyer. The letter sent to commissioners says that he cites the ongoing budget proceedings in Burke County. Happening tonight, high school students will head to the James Brown Arena for the CSRA College Night. News Channel 6's Nikita Dennis is live right now at the JBA with a preview. Nikita?
Yeah, that's right, Jenny. Thousands of high school students will be here at the CSRA College Night, and right now, 100 colleges and universities are starting to set up. They also have military programs here as well. And each year, the CSRA College Night gets bigger and bigger. Last year, there were more than 4,000 high school students attending, and organizers say this year they're expecting around 5,000. A $15,000 scholarship is being awarded as well to 15 students here that will be attending. I'll have more on this event coming up at 5 p.m. But for right now, live in Augusta, Nikita Dennis, WJBF, News Channel 6.
The rate of inflation remains high in the U.S. and it continues to impact businesses and consumers in our area. An economics professor at Augusta University tells us recent interest rate increases are meant to discourage spending and lower the inflation rate, but it could be years until we start seeing those impacts. He says the wages in the area have not increased with the price of goods, affecting employment. Local staffing companies have been trying to make up for this and tell us they've seen a major increase in the number of people looking for part-time work.
If you're having to pay that much more to keep your employees and you've got inflation driving up all the other costs, employees are usually the first ones to kind of go on that. We're seeing people come in and apply for new jobs that are already having jobs. They have a full-time position and they need something to supplement that now. They're looking for something that would work around their current hours.
WJBF is having a Giving Your Best donation drive to help curb these prices and the need for necessities in the community. Information about items needed and where you can donate is on our website. Philly Europa Restaurant has been serving European cuisine to customers in South Augusta for 5 decades, but their time could soon be up. The restaurant has been in the same building for 5 decades. The manager says the building is simply old and has outlived its usefulness. She says she hopes the restaurant can find a new facility, but even if that doesn't happen, its time at the current location is coming to an end.
And this building it's been around for 50 years, and while, yes, you can do a lot of things to fix things up, this place you just can't. I kind of take it as a sign of it's time for the next chapter.
They'll have the last Oktoberfest in the current building on October 15th. There is no anticipated closing date, but if they do close, they say they'll continue to use their food truck. The process to find a permanent city administrator drags on in a new mixed-use building could be headed to the heart of downtown Aiken. Developers want to get your input. Our Aiken Bureau Chief Sean Cavenstock has details.
The project will target up to 100 employees that will be located on city-owned property. The Aiken Corporation had a study conducted, and they're sharing those results here at the Center for African American History, Art, and Culture tonight.
The Richland Avenue property downtown Aiken was at the center of a significant potential development. The idea was to create a mixed-use building offering office and event spaces. There was a study done to see if it was possible. 4 other sites were examined.
No, I don't think an office building with 100 plus people should be built right downtown. Based on what I saw, what happened with Westinghouse years ago, and all of these office buildings they built, and then a couple of years later, they were gone.
And that public meeting is scheduled for 6 at the center here on York Street Northeast in Aiken. I'm Aiken Bureau Chief Sean Cavenstock, WJBF News Channel 6.
Coming up, News Channel 6 celebrates a major milestone. A look back at 70 years on the air. Next.
Join special guest Tabitha Holloman as she helps you learn new skills with QuickBooks. Register at AugustaMetroChamber.com.
Your workplace should foster determination, teamwork, and success. When violence occurs at home, the effects can follow the victim to their workplace. Many survivors of domestic and intimate partner abuse are stalked, harassed, and even assaulted at work, compromising their safety and the safety of other employees. It's important that employers have policies in place to support victims and help team members. Be aware of warning signs and available resources. Take the steps to protect your workspace. It's beneficial for all of us to be aware of these hidden crimes.
The #1 entertainment talk show will make you say,
The reason why couples fight.
They host talk shows together.
Live with Kelly and Mark. Weekdays.
This fall, WJBF News Channel 6 will celebrate 70 years on the air. In today's Hometown History, Kim Vickers takes a look at some of the anchors and reporters who have come through our newsroom.
Television grew much more rapidly than most of us thought it would. And that has been the big surprise and a very happy surprise.
WJBF's first newscast aired November 23rd, 1953, just days before Thanksgiving. It was the first television news broadcast in the CSRA. One of the very first on-air personalities at WJBF was Jim Davis.
He was in that Walter Cronkite mold where if he said it, if Jim said it, then you were going to believe it.
Nearly 20 years later, in 1971, Frank Thomas became the first African-American reporter at WJBF. He says being the first in the CSRA wasn't always easy.
These kids said, "Take my picture. Take my picture." And so apparently they figured I had not taken that picture, so they yelled out, "Take my picture." They used the N-word. So I said to myself, now you know, here I am. I started not to come back south. Here I am going through this.
George said it would.
One of the most beloved on-air personalities at WJBF is former chief meteorologist George Myers. He had a calm demeanor no matter how bad the weather. Viewers always knew they could trust him. Former anchor and former mayor of Augusta, Bob Young, reflects on his time working with the chief.
George was just the master of the weather. There was nothing that was unflappable, and some of the cliches he used to describe it, like frogs strangling rain and things like that. Who can forget those George Myers isms?
Bob's time at WJBF started in the mid-'80s as the assignment desk manager before joining the on-air team.
Getting the news stories, getting the facts, writing stories, and trying to develop some innovative content for the news shows. I really thrived on that.
During some of that time, Kathy Marks became a popular evening anchor. She said when she first started, she was very eager to learn.
I knew what I wanted to be when I was a senior in high school. We had senior day, career day, and I dressed up as a news reporter.
1986 rolled on, and so did George Escala. Using his unique personality, he created a weekly and ever so popular segment that's still running strong 37 years later.
Next stop, the Out There Somewhere Zone.
Stan Birdie was the sports director at WJBF from 1985 until 1994. He's credited with starting our major Friday night local high school sports segments.
We took Football Friday night when I got here was maybe 1 or 2 games was being covered every week. This is up until the time I got here. And then we went from that 1 or 2 games to 10 games, and then 20 games, and then 30 games.
You can't talk about WJBF's on-air personalities without mentioning the reigning queen of morning news, Mary Morrison. She says the show has changed so much from when she started in 1988.
When I first started, we were doing just news briefs, 2 or 3 minute newscasts 4 times a morning, and ultimately evolved into the 2.5 hours that it is today.
And today, when turning on our most watched newscast at 6 p.m., this anchor team has been going strong for more than 25 years. Jenny Montgomery and Brad Means. Another familiar face on and off for the last 28 years is evening anchor Dee Griffin. When it comes to why these anchors stay with WJBF so long, the overall response continues to be family and community.
Well, I feel like I was embraced by the CSRA community. I'm grateful for that.
We were a family back then. You were appreciated as an individual. You felt that your work had worth, and it was a place you wanted to stay.
And that's just part of your and our hometown history. In Augusta, Kim Vickers, WJBF, News Channel 6.
And I have to agree with Mary and Bob. Many of us working at Television Park today call WJBF and the CSRA home, in part because of the family and the community we found. Others, like Andrea Arsenault Coleman, left after a short time, going on to bigger things. Arsenault was a popular anchor here at Channel 6 in the early 90s before moving to CNN. She says she felt like the work she was doing in Augusta was making an impact in the community.
But there, you really did feel like whatever report you were giving, whatever community you were interacting with, whatever person you may be speaking on behalf of, that it really did make a difference. One, that people were tuning in, and then that the news mattered.
Back when people had to tune in to a newscast and you couldn't just get it on your phone. You can read more about the history of our on-air personalities at WJBF.com. And speaking of on-air personalities, we do have sad news to bring you now. A member of the WJBF News Channel 6 family has died. Georgia Cunningham died last night in Grovetown. The Conway, South Carolina native is well known as host of WJBF's Top 10 Dance Party, which aired back in the day for 16 years on Saturday afternoons. There she is with Bobby Sherman. Look at that. She also worked with WJBF's iconic Trooper Terry, the incomparable Terry Sams, for WJBF's 50th anniversary reunion show. Georgia was also beloved in the local theater community. She worked with Storyland Theater as the choreographer for 20 years. Our thoughts and prayers go out to Georgia's family and friends. She was 79 years old.
I'm attorney Jamie.
It's 5 years since Hurricane Florence made landfall in the Carolinas. You're looking at drone footage of Lumberton, one of the hardest hit communities. It's estimated the storm brought nearly 8 trillion gallons of water to North Carolina. More than 5,200 people had to be rescued and 74,000 structures were flooded. Preliminary damage was just under $17 billion. A father...
Wow, get ready for the fall season at Carolina Pottery. Decorate on a budget with great deals on a full selection of fall and Halloween decor, including pumpkins, flowers, ribbons, flags, and more. Visit carolinapottery.com or a store near you.
When your AC or plumbing goes out, you ask. Use Channel 6 and the Giving Your Best partners need your help. Give to those in need by donating product milk, soap, and other essentials at a television park or at any Security Federal Bank location.
Looking for fabulous fall decor for your home and outdoor spaces? Carolina Pottery has everything you need for the season, all at unbeatable prices. Signs, pillows, wreaths, home accents, you name it, we've got it. Visit carolinapottery.com or a store near you.
Detail with your forecast in just a little bit, Jenny.
All right, Tim, thank you. An Emmanuel County Sheriff's investigator who was shot in the line of duty is back at home. Tiffany Hobbs talked with him about his road to recovery. Tiffany?
Emmanuel County Sheriff's Office investigator Dakota Lamb says that he doesn't wake up every day thinking about the potential dangers of his job. After being shot while serving a drug search warrant Tuesday morning, he says he's grateful to be alive. Investigator Lamb was working with the Swainsboro Police Department, serving a warrant on Coldgrove Drive. He says as he approached the side of the house, he was shot in his left arm. Lamb was taken to the Emmanuel County Medical Center, then to Wellstar MCG Health, where he was treated for his injuries. He is expected to make a full recovery. The suspect has been taken into custody and charged with aggravated assault.
When you're getting a search warrant planned up, you're trying to get as much intel as you can of any firearms in the house. The people that are in the house, how many, and their histories, their criminal histories, and if are they violent, and so there's a lot that goes into it, and there's a lot that sometimes are just unknown variables, and that could have been what happened this time, was just an unknown variable.
Investigator Lamb tells us he doesn't yet know if another surgery will be in his future, but for now, he says he will take his time to heal so he can get back to the job he loves. Back to you, Jenny.
Tiffany, thank you very much. Happening tonight, high school students are heading to the James Brown Arena for the annual CSRA College Night. News Channel 6's Nikita Dennis is live now at the JBA. Nikita?
Yeah, that's right. Thousands of high school students are here right now inside the arena experiencing everything that College Night has to offer. Over 100 colleges and universities are here. Military programs will also be offering opportunities to students as well. And leaders with Savannah Riverside say this event is one of the biggest events they host each year for high school seniors. Last year, they had more than 4,000 students attending, and this year they're expecting more than 5,000.
College night tonight, we're going to have 115 colleges and universities present. We'll have 4 branches of the military also here. We'll have a couple technical colleges for students to visit. We will have also seminars available for parents to attend. We'll have a career center set up and a counseling center set up.
1,000 scholarships will be awarded to 15 high school seniors that will be attending tonight as well. Live in Augusta, Nikita Dennis, WJBF, News Channel 6.
Those $1,000 scholarships will come in very handy, no doubt. Thank you, Nikita. Villa Europa Restaurant has been serving European cuisine to customers in South Augusta for 5 decades, but the restaurant's time could soon be up. News Channel 6's Graham Lee has the story.
This has been the place where friends meet for the last 50 years. But after discussions about the restaurant closing their doors, the owners are speaking out to clear the air.
This restaurant means everything to me.
Villa Europa has provided German and Italian cuisine to customers for decades. But after seeing wear and tear on their longtime home, the restaurant could soon be closing its doors.
And this building it's been around for 50 years, and while, yes, you can do a lot of things to fix things up, this place you just can't. I kind of take it as a sign of it's time for the next chapter.
Although it's an old building, General Manager Peggy Schaefer says this problem goes beyond the old structure.
This part of town, I think the city's kind of forgotten about us. And so not a lot of people, it's a thoroughfare. People drive through, there's a lot of traffic, but they're not stopping.
As for the future of the restaurant, Rose says they're searching for a new facility for Villa Europa. While no property has been confirmed, they have a few ideas in mind.
We know exactly where we would love to be. We have like our number one spot. It's just not available. I'll say that. It's not quite available. So we're looking at other options.
Those that work here say there's not an anticipated closing date, but they plan to have the last Oktoberfest in this building on October 15th. In South Augusta, Graham Lee, WJBF, News Channel 6.
Sad news to bring you now, as a member of the WJBF News Channel 6 family has died. Georgia Cunningham died last night in Grovetown. The Conway, South Carolina native is well known as host of WJBF's Top 10 Dance Party, which aired back in the day for 16 years on Saturday afternoons. Georgia also worked with WJBF's iconic trooper Terry, the incomparable Terry Sams, for WJBF's 50th anniversary reunion show. She was also the choreographer for Storyland Theater here in Augusta for 20 years. Our thoughts and prayers go out to Georgia's family. Georgia Cunningham was 79 years old.